where the rubber always meets the road, I think. Actually, I'm not even sure what that means.
Heartland Newsfeed Radio Network, live at heartlandnewsfeed.com.
In New Orleans, and for a little while it still will be a little warmer than Illinois, but he'll be back in Illinois this weekend. We'll have an updated forecast for you, and Dan Hicks will tell you just how warm it's going to get here in Illinois this weekend. First, though, on the first segment, we're going to hear from Tom Vilsack, former U.S. Secretary of Agriculture, now the President, CEO of the U.S. Dairy Export Council. The U.S. dairy sector worried about access to the lucrative Japan market. Dairy groups and officials sending a brand new industry-funded study to President Donald Trump, administration officials, and the members of Congress. Politico says the study stresses the need for expanding market access overseas. The report points out that the U.S. is the only major dairy exporting country not included in one of two new trade deals with Japan. Very, very interesting study, and those numbers could have a great impact on the dairy industry. So Tom Vilsack in segment one. DeLoss files a very interesting 4Fs report for us this week from NCBA, and more news from that convention in New Orleans. All that and more coming your way on this edition of RFD Illinois. Stay with us.
RFD Radio Network's DeLoss Yankee connects rural routes for you. DeLoss delivers essential farm and food-related news to our listeners. His witty voice has been heard on the air for more than 2 decades. Here's a bit about his rural roots.
Growing up on a farm prepared me for my career. I try to know a little about a lot of things and let the people I interview be the experts. I've always wanted to be on the radio. I'm just happy to do what I enjoy.
Be it routes or roots, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com, and Farm Week keep you connected.
You're going to need me.
You're going to need us.
All of us.
You're going to need our help with your water, your air, your food.
You're going to need our determination, our compassion.
You're going to need the next generation of leaders to face the challenges the future will bring.
And we promise we'll be there when you need us.
Today, 4-H is growing the next generation of leaders. Support us at 4h.org.
Hey, Illinois soybean farmers, Better Beans are back and coming to an area near you. Better Beans is the only event series that brings you expert soybean tips and insights specific to your region, your farm, and your conditions, so you can get the most out of your acres. To find a Better Beans event nearest you, or to register for free today, visit ilsoy.org/betterbeans. That's ilsoy.org/betterbeans.
I'm Rita Frazier. A study released this week by the U.S. Dairy Export Council projects new trade agreements between Japan and other countries will put U.S. dairy exports at a competitive disadvantage, resulting in lost U.S. sales of $5.4 billion over 21 years. Tom Vilsack is the U.S. Dairy Export Council's president and CEO.
Well, we commissioned a consulting firm in Japan to take a look at the impact of the recently negotiated EU free trade agreement with Japan and the recently concluded comprehensive and progressive Trans-Pacific Partnership, which the United States had been part of and then withdrew. Japan's population is decreasing, but it's increasing its consumption of cheese, and it's decreasing the amount of cheese that's being produced in country. So the next 10 years, there's a tremendous opportunity for additional exports in dairy, particularly in the cheese area. In fact, the reports suggest that it could be 1.5 time expansion, 1.6-fold increase in cheese consumption and dairy consumption in Japan. So that's a tremendous market opportunity for us. And if we were able to gain the same market access that our competitors from New Zealand, Australia, and the EU have, we would see our market share jump from 13% of sales to 24%. And we'd see the value of those sales increase over 3 times. Tremendous opportunity for us to increase from $290 million in sales to $600 million in sales over the next 10 years. Here's the problem. We don't have the same market access. In fact, we're now at a competitive disadvantage because of these agreements that have been reached with our competitors on both cheese, whey, lactose, and skim milk powder. So over the next 5 years, instead of seeing an increase in market share, we could lose up to $90 million annually in terms of sales that are currently taking place in Japan. So it's incredibly important for the U.S. government to engage aggressively in conversations with Japan so that we conclude a free trade agreement with Japan and get the same or better market access than our competitors. Absent that, we're going to see a substantial reduction in business in Japan over the next 5 to 10 years, and that obviously will mean less opportunity for exports and less stability in dairy pricing for our producers.
What is it going to take to get the job done?
Well, I think it's going to take constant conversation with Japanese and making sure that that part of those negotiations continues to be opening up market opportunities for U.S. agriculture. The Japanese have been resistant in the past, but I think that now that they've entered into an agreement with the EU, they've entered into an agreement under the Comprehensive and Progressive TPP, they should be in a position to be willing to talk about agriculture with our officials. And I think if our officials aggressively push this, that hopefully we get the same or better market access. And if we do, then we'll see our market share increase. We'll see more exports to Japan. And the good news, we'll see stable and hopefully better prices for producers throughout the U.S.
What would you charge the dairy farmers out there listening? How can they weigh in? Can the country help move the needle here?
Well, I think it's important for when they have opportunities to visit with members of Congress or senators that they express the concern that they have about the industry and the importance of exports in the future of the industry, and the need for members of Congress not only to focus on ratification of the USMCA, but also to encourage the administration to be aggressive in their discussions with the Japanese to make sure that agriculture is involved and included in that agreement, and specifically dairy is included. And I think it's important, obviously, for us to continue to ask the administration through our members of Congress and through the Senate to get resolution with the Chinese as quickly as possible so that the retaliatory tariffs that have hurt American agriculture are lifted and we can do business once again in sort of a full aggressive way in that Chinese market.
Tom Vilsack, U.S. Dairy Export Council. Well, the Alltech Global Feed Survey came out this week and showed that international feed tonnage grew by 3 percentage points in 2018. The total topped the 1 billion mark for a third straight year. The 8th annual survey covers 144 countries and 30,000 feed mills. The top 8, so the 8 biggest producers include China, the U.S., Brazil, Russia, India, Mexico, Spain, and Turkey. Stay tuned. DeLoss Yankee is back with more news, including the 4F's report and highlights from the National Cattlemen's Trade Show and Convention in New Orleans. This is RFD, Illinois.
RFD Radio Network's Rita Frazier connects rural routes for you. Rita delivers passion and reliable information to listeners on the RFD Radio Network. Her radio career spans close to 3 decades. Here's a bit about her rural roots.
I grew up on a small farm. My job today allows me to connect with people from all walks of life and experience opportunity every day. I get to talk about what I love, farming.
Be it routes or roots, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com, and Farm Week keep you connected.
All Ag.
All Illinois.
All Now.
There are a lot of smartphone apps out there, but do they have what's important to us here in Illinois? The Farm Week Now app does, and it's always at your fingertips. All Ag, all Illinois, and 24/7 where and when you need it for free. Go to your app or Play Store on your smartphone, hit search, type in Farm Week Now, that's one word, and download it today. Brought to you by Illinois Farm Bureau, where we're all about farm, family, and food.
This is your RFD Radio Network 4F's report. Fuel, fertilizer, feed, and food. All sources of essential energy. Here's DeLoss Yankee.
Talking food today at the Cattle Industry Convention with Danielle Barr and Mandy Carr Johnson of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, and talking about the issue of lab meat, or fake meat, if you will. It's a hot topic. 32 state farm bureaus submitted resolutions to the American Farm Bureau Federation this year on the topic, which is much different than the concept of a veggie burger, for example.
The Boca Burger, the Black Bean Burger, they've been on the market for decades. They're targeting a specific niche set of consumers who are vegan or vegetarian. But now there are burgers who are, products that are burgers, they bleed and sizzle like real meat. They're not going after your traditional vegetarian consumer. They're targeting meat eaters directly.
When they use words like steak, for example, Mandy, it's because we all know steak is awesome, right? So they want to put a positive term in that? Is that one of the challenges here?
I think one thing we know is that today's consumer likes beef. They like steak, they like hamburgers, they like our product. And we know that taste is the leading demand driver when consumers are making a food purchase decision. And with that, they want to be beef. So they are utilizing science and technology to make a imitation product that is as close to the characteristics of beef, like taste, nutrition, and those safety measures that we know that beef has today. They just want to be like beef.
It seems like a lot of work to create something that's already very well in existence.
I think that's one of the misperceptions for consumers is beef is a healthy, sustainable, nutritious, safe product to eat. So we have a product from an animal that can naturally do this. It makes a high quality, sustainable, nutritious protein. So it's there on the market. I think there's a bit of a novelty factor with what these things are, but you can get what you need from those same aspects with the product that already exists and consumers already love.
Danielle, you don't have to speak for the supermarkets, but I'm just thinking about how this then presents itself. Is this, right now you have beef and pork and chicken right beside each other in the meat case. Is that a shelf space thing? But the other thing I think of, if you put that in what's considered the health food segment, then that doesn't make beef look good if it's not in that particular segment.
You know, that's a really interesting question. I'll just say this. We've been happy to compete for the center of the plate, and consumers have, made their decision. That's why beef is what's for dinner. Moving forward, we're happy to compete against all other, alternative protein products moving forward. But what's really important here is that these products are properly labeled so that consumers know what they're buying. One of the things that we take issue with are these burgers that bleed, sizzle like real meat. They're not real meat, but they're labeled like they are. If you're a mom rushing home from work, trying to, run through the grocery store, grab something quick so you can make dinner for your kids who are hangry at home, you're going to buy the first thing you can see. And if you're not paying close attention to these package labels, some of these products are really misleading. And so we want to make sure that consumers know exactly what it is that they're buying. It's up to the labels to tell that story.
Beck says that issue in particular to watch will be claims by lab meat groups and companies using the term clean meat, which he says would intentionally disparage red meat. AAA gas prices, $2.26 for a national average, is a penny less than last month and 33.5 cents than last year, at a time when gas demand is at summertime levels now, according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration. Diesel price nationwide is $2.92, down 7 cents from last month and 6 cents from last year. In Illinois, the average regular price is $2.21, 7 cents more than last month, 40 cents less than last year. And diesel at $2.76 is a dozen less than last month and 16 cents less than last year. Missouri, $1.91, Iowa, $2.06, Wisconsin, Kentucky, $2.08, and Indiana, $2.15 per gallon.
That's this week's 4S Report. Tune in next week for all of the latest fuel, fertilizer, feed, and food trends and essential energy information.
By the way, in the bi-weekly Illinois production cost report, the price of anhydrous ammonia was up, but just a little bit compared to mid-January, up $1.15 a ton to $610.92, a top offer of $628. Everything else was unchanged. Urea, $402.50, 28% liquid nitrogen, $286.75, DAP, $519, MAP, $510 and a quarter, and potash, $3.89 per ton. Something we'll certainly be talking about in the months ahead with Lindsay Ramsey at Illinois Farm Bureau will be regarding the monarch butterfly and its fate. In fact, June 30 is the deadline for U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service for its plans to decide whether or not to list the monarch in the Endangered Species Act. Visited with Ethan Lane this week at the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. He's also with Public Lands Council, and talking about what's going on in D.C., especially what he expects to be a hyper-partisan situation in the legislature, and what that then means in other offices in D.C.
They're going to spend a lot of their time kind of throwing bombs and press releases, and that makes all the serious business that we need to get done harder to achieve. So I think you'll see us lean into that agency work. because that's where we have folks that are saying, all right, let's roll our sleeves up and just get work done. Forget what they're doing up on the hill. Let's just go to work. So we look at that as an opportunity to really get some good things done on the ground, maybe work on changing some agency culture in some different areas, getting those regulations tuned. That's why we're still working on ESA. We have 3 rules that the Interior Department and the White House have pushed out in draft form, targeting Sections 4 and 7 of the Endangered Species Act. That's a really good first step towards tackling critical habitat and consultation issues that are going to plague us in the future on species like the monarch butterfly that's right around the corner for the middle of the country. This is something that a lot of people are already talking about, and I guarantee you in another year or so, everyone's going to be talking about. So if we can adjust that playing field now so that we have that law working a little bit better and a little less punitively, that's good stuff. So that's where we're going to keep our nose to the grindstone over the next year or two and see what we can get done.
Ethan Lane at NCBA, the Cattle Industry Convention in New Orleans, where yesterday's high temperature hit 58. We'll break down for markets and weather.
With the RFD Ag Market Summary for this Friday morning, I'm Jim Taylor. Corn, beans, and wheat all ending Thursday lower. March corn closing at 376.5, down 4 3/4. May corn down 4.5, 385 1/4, and July corn 392 3/4, down 4 3/4. March beans closing at 915 1/4, down 5 3/4. May beans down 5 3/4. 929 1/4, and July beans 942, down 5 1/2. March wheat closing at 516 1/2, down 1/4. May wheat down 3/4, 521 3/4, and July wheat 527, down a penny. March bean meal 310 even, down 110. March bean oil 30.17, down 25 cents. And current electronic overnight trading, March corn is up a penny and a half, May corn up a penny and a half, and July corn 394 1/4, also up a penny and a half. March beans in the overnight up 8, May beans up 7 3/4, and July beans up 7 1/2, 949 1/2. March wheat in the overnight up 2 3/4, May wheat up 2 1/4, and July wheat up 2 pennies, 5.29. At the outside markets, March Brent crude oil 61.89, that's up 24 cents a barrel. The April gold contract 13.24.90, down 30 cents this morning. In the livestock market, February lean hogs 56.25, down 1.20. April lean hogs down $2.60.22. February live cattle 124.80, down 135. April live cattle 126.30, down 175. January feeders 142.10, down 27 cents. March feeder cattle 142.55, down 175. Cash livestock at Schuyler Livestock Sales, steers 123.50 the top this week, and Illinois direct barrels and gilts trading steady on Thursday at 28 to 36. I'm Jim Taylor for the RFD Radio Network.
Good morning, this is Dan Hicks from Freeze Notice Weather with the early morning weather update on the RFD Radio Network for this Friday morning. Daytime highs across the Midwest yesterday stayed a few degrees below zero in some northern areas, including the far northern part of Illinois. Readings ranged up to the 20s to around 30 in the southern part of the region. Temperatures have stayed fairly steady overnight, with readings early today around zero in the far northern part of Illinois to the 20s in the far south. A weak system moving eastward across the Midwest did produce some light snow across much of the region over the past 24 hours. This weak system will move eastward out of Illinois today, with any light snow or flurries ending this morning. A rapid warm-up is expected across the Midwest this weekend into Monday. Daytime highs today here in Illinois will range from the teens in the north to the 30s in the south. Then over the weekend, high temperatures will climb into the 30s and 40s over the northern part of the state, with 40s and 50s in the south. Any precipitation that falls this weekend should be fairly scattered and light across the area, with some light mixed precipitation possible in the northern Midwest and a little bit of light rain or drizzle possible in the southern areas. A new storm system will pass through the Midwest early next week. Right now it looks like greatest precipitation amounts from this system will fall to the north of Illinois, but this system will bring down some additional Canadian air during the day Monday and Monday night, dropping temperatures back below normal across Illinois by Monday night and Tuesday. The weather pattern next week looks like it will favor a fairly wide temperature contrast across the central and eastern U.S., with colder conditions returning to most of the north-central part of the region and warm conditions in the south and southeast. Greater precipitation amounts are likely across most of the area next week as several weather systems affect the Midwest. Once again, this is Dan Hicks from Freeze Notice Weather.
Remember that movie National Lampoon's Vacation? Well, Clark Griswold has nothing on me. Give me the open road and my Illinois Farm Bureau membership card, and I am the ultimate road warrior. Like last summer, I drove the family to Williamsburg at a fraction of the cost. Once I hit the road, I don't stop for much, so I used my membership to rent a minivan from Enterprise. The kids got more bouncing room, and I saved 5%. Then I used my Illinois Farm Bureau membership to save 20% on choice hotels from here all the way to the East Coast. On the way back, we stopped and saved at our favorite theme park, too. I was hoping it would wear out the kids and they'd sleep. Good thing I got that minivan for bouncing, though. No matter how unique my travel needs are, I know that my membership can help. Illinois Farm Bureau. It's membership for my lifestyle.
Isn't it time you learned how Illinois Farm Bureau member-only discounts fit into your lifestyle? Call your county farm bureau or visit ilfb.org for details.
We know you want the best for your family. We do too. That's why Illinois farmers continually look for new ways to help. We're working with Mother Nature to preserve water, protect land, and provide food. From our fields to your table, we want what's best for all of us and for future generations to come. Learn more about conservation efforts at ilfarmersconserve.com. Preserving our water, protecting our land, providing our food.
This message brought to you by Illinois Farm Bureau.
When it comes to social media, Sabrina Berkowitz connects rural routes for you. Sabrina covers a broad range of ag topics, so Farm Bureau members are the first to know about key issues. Here's a bit about her rural roots.
I grew up with a grain and livestock farm in my extended family, and today I really enjoy helping people learn how to use social media to advocate for agriculture.
Be it routes or roots, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com, and Farm Week keep you connected.
That's all the time we have for this edition of RFD Illinois. Time to salute a community and learn so much about our new Director of Agriculture, John Sullivan, this week while visiting with him in Springfield, like the fact that he went to high school in Hamilton, Illinois. That's in Hancock County. We salute Hamilton, population 2,951. The salute brought to you by Country Financial. Your farm is your family's legacy and a part of your hometown heritage. While you work sun up to sundown to get the job done, they're here protecting the things you love every step of the way. Country Financial. Learn more by visiting countrycrop.com. On behalf of the entire RFD radio team, I'm Rita Frazier. Have a great day. Thank you for joining us here on the RFD Radio Network.
Hey, you know, a great way to reach farmers, reach those in agriculture, is through local radio. In fact, Rita, from the National Association of Farm Broadcasting, they have research that shows that farmers listen, 87% say they listen 3+ days a week.